The Jim and Terry Show coming to you on first week in September. Morning. I think it's morning. Cloudy, overcast, rain. Yeah, what else is new for September? Well, the weather. It's supposed to warm up. I'm not sure. Will we get a few good days in September? It's usually back to school in the sun. But it's overcast. Will it be longer than a day or two? I don't know. Does it make any difference? Well, the gardens are well past their prime. Things are looking like they're in retreat. The gardens are there are still some autumn flowers out and about, but it's more looking like it's past its prime. Sort of like the way I feel with a birthday coming up with a 0. Do I focus on that? It seems so. I'm kind of intrigued with where this Russia stuff is going with Canada, and I'm going to connect it to ice. Canada is known for hockey, known for skating, known for our hockey stars, our skating stars. Does the name Jamie Salé and Theo Fleury, do those names ring a bell to anybody? Jamie Salé is, of course, a figure skater of Olympian proportions, sweetheart of Canada for a number of years, who's now turned conspiracy theorist? Now turned to the dark side. She's purveying anti-vax assertions, claims without any evidence. And I link that with the other hockey ice, and Theo Fleury used to be a star, and I think it was with Calgary Flames. What do they both have in common? West, Alberta, Calgary, hotbed of crazy? Danielle Smith, UCP. Maybe I can throw them all together in one big thing and say, how's the far right bought and paid for with Russian money working out for you? And I'm kind of curious because there's some stuff turning up with Jamie Salé mentioned on the far right of things. I mentioned in a previous podcast about some of the Tenet media superstars and their social media platforms spreading Russian talking points. Well, Salé has been lately supporting, she seemed to suggest that military tribunals might be necessary to solve things politically in Canada. And she has, in the past, compared Justin Trudeau to Hitler. And as one article says that I'm reading from Calgary 2023, so a few months ago, over half a year, I guess, most Canadians would find Salé's stance appalling. Most, but not all. The ideas that she espouses are constituent with a growing movement born of cherry-picked data, conspiracy theories, and opinions of scientists rejected by their peers that rose to new heights during the 3 years of the pandemic, public health measures, and isolation. We've been led by a bunch of criminals, basically our whole lives, said Salé recently in a podcast hosted by Alberta lawyer Leighton Gray, who resigned from a vetting panel for new judges after comparing COVID vaccines to Auschwitz tattoos. You may have heard of that one. You can look him up. Leighton Gray, who was being vetted for a position on the Alberta, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the Alberta Supreme Court, so provincial Supreme Court. But when he made that comment about COVID vaccines and Auschwitz tattoos, that sort of doomed him from any political service in a reasonable government. But then Danielle Smith in Alberta, the province, the leader, the party, are anything but reasonable. So there's that connection to social media and finding a voice when we are looking for people who are spreading influence that resembles Russian talking points. So again, I simply ask for a comparison of language. And if you find the language to be the same or similar, then perhaps it is time to question the source. Okay, so that's Jamie Salé. What about Theo? Theo Fleury has also promoted a conspiracy theory called, and this is popular on the far right, the Great Reset. Now, I have a sibling who's also talking about the Great Reset, so, if you want to look it up, you can look it up. I think I got the hockey club right, Theo Fleury from Calgary Flames, but this stuff of late seems to be taking him in a different direction, and perhaps not a good one. I liked him as a hockey player. I thought he was very talented, and I liked him on the Calgary Flames. But this latest turn is one that's really kind of getting me. He won a Canadian Humanitarian Award. So there's a lot of stuff. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater is maybe a good thing to look at when you see these things. And these people, they've done great things in the past. They may be having some challenges in the present, but does that mean you throw them all out as whack jobs or nut jobs? I'm not sure. I mean, if you're doing good, you're doing good. If you're working with charitable organizations, that's good. If you believe a few things that are highly suspect and doubtful, and beliefs espoused by other people who are highly suspect and doubtful in character, then that makes just what you consume to be a little suspect and doubtful. It doesn't mean that you as a person, perhaps, are needing your head examined. So, anyway, Theo Fleury, Jamie Salé, somehow all these words seem to be linked into the far-right media and the whole Lauren Southern thing with Rebel News and all this stuff that gets me going, gets my temperature rising. The thing that gets me is that these are stoking Canadian discontent. So when people blindly assert Canada is broken without evidence, when they blindly assert Trudeau's a commie, Trudeau is going to take away your guns, Trudeau is going to freeze your bank accounts, Trudeau is responsible for food prices, Trudeau is blah, 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 Trudeau is to blame. And even Jagmeet Singh lately has, said he's tearing up his support document for the Liberals. Well, consider, Mr. Singh, that most of what you wanted, you got. And it wasn't because of help from PP, whose entire political party voted against all the things that you say the NDP got done. Well, you got it done because the Liberals were able to broker this and make these policies happen, whether it's daycare, whether it's pharmacare, all these things that you value. The Liberals were at the core of it, and it wouldn't have got done without them. So please, when you say you're going to tear up the agreement, maybe you should look at who is the alternative to Trudeau and the Liberals. And if that is Pierre Poilievre, you might want to reconsider what you're going to do with your party in the future. Anyway, that's just a little sidebar of things that are of interest to me. And speaking of things that Jagmeet Singh has got himself into with his recent video and denouncing the supply and support document with the Liberals, I'm going to read a little bit from this post. A term being stupidly used with abandon these days is propped up, as in the NDP propped up the Liberal government. This is how a minority government works in a Westminster parliamentary system. Our system, for what it seems to be the zillionth time, let me explain. Our system elects MPs. Those MPs decide how we are going to be governed, and most MPs are affiliated with parties, and they represent the policies of that party. That's why voters cast their ballots for them. They can do this on a bill-by-bill basis, keeping in mind that they may not want to defeat the current government if they aren't prepared to contest yet another election, which is what Jagmeet Singh seems to be suggesting. Or they can negotiate a supply agreement. We will support you as far as we can work together. That sounds like a good Canadian way, the compromise way. It's not about signing your soul or sellout Singh, as PP has the way of saying things, dismissively, derisively, demeaningly. Continuing on, quote, they promised to support the government for some period of time in exchange for promoting their supporters' policy preferences. It's democracy. This is how we get along. This is how we don't have to have an election every month because of the aimless pursuit of a majority. We've had relatively few majority governments in Canadian history. The majority of them are some form of minority where you need help to stay in power. You need help to publish and promote policies. You need help to make legislation that is bettering the lives of Canadians. Authoritarians are not at all interested in consensus building. Would that be Pierre Poilievre? They object to this kind of wheeling and dealing of government where we agree to support one another and work out the details to promote what is best for Canada. They, the authoritarians, want to impose their notions without discussion, without negotiation, and that is how we got the conservative Chinese FIPA, Foreign Investment with China Agreement from Stephen Harper. No discussion, just passed. Did you get that? It was Stephen Harper. Stephen Harper of IDU fame. Stephen Harper, who may be dangling the marionette called Pierre Poilievre. Propped up is what makes Liberals seem weak, as if they don't belong in government? Well, that's the CPC talking point. That's just a matter of semantics and games. Propped up, that's not the right word. Negotiating, working out deals. How can we make lives better for Canadians? That is the Canadian parliamentary way, the Westminster parliamentary way, the way of anybody who's not got authoritarian aspirations. The Jim and Terry Show signing off. Bye-bye for now.